My name is Michael Marcantonio. I am the head of DeFi at Galaxy Digital. Galaxy is, for those who don't know, arguably the largest publicly traded company that actively trades on decentralized markets and that builds on Solana. We're incredibly proud about that. We made a huge commitment to Solana, and I want to talk a little bit about what we're working on and why it's really exciting. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it's working. It's not moving. All right. So thank you all for being here. Thank the Solana Foundation. Before, though, I really wanted to contextualize, from my perspective, what our mission is, why we're so focused on Solana, and why we're so focused on decentralized finance. Because right now, the economy for young people, for millennials and Gen Z, is just not working. Young people have no equity in the system. They're straddled with student debt. They don't own homes. They have no prospect of owning homes. They're not starting families. I mean, the current financial system, the legacy rails that we are looking to replace, that we, all of us together in this collective project, are looking to upgrade, that system has failed. And it has failed because it was not meant to protect young people. It was not meant to protect millennials, Gen Z, the next generation. It was meant instead to benefit those who control it. And Peter Thiel actually had an email about this in 2020 that I thought was really interesting. It recently surfaced. And he said, if you have no equity, if you have no stake in the capitalist system, don't be surprised if young people reject that system and overthrow it. And when I think about that, and I think about what that means, I'm faced with the obvious fear that young people not having any equity in this current system, not having any ownership in this current system, are going to reject it. And you're seeing that right now. In New York last month, in the epicenter of global capitalism, you saw New York, young people came out in droves, and they said one thing: we reject the status quo. We reject the current system. And so young people are faced with this dichotomy. They're faced with this binary choice: accept the status quo or adopt something like socialism, adopt something like government control. But what I'm saying here, and what we're so focused on, is there is a third option. There is a third option. And that option is decentralized finance. That option is not rejecting markets, it is upgrading them. It's not rejecting capitalism, it's making capitalism more inclusive. It's making markets more, it's making markets available and ownership available to young people. And so, right now, we're looking at this and we're saying, how do we get decentralized finance to bring millions and millions of young people into the economic system before it is too late? And this is very important for all of the builders here. The builders need to understand that we're not just building a better blockchain. You're not just building a better blockchain. You're not just building a more efficient system. You're not just building a faster blockchain. You are building a new social contract. You are building a new system that will empower young people if it works. But it needs to work. And how do we define working? We define working, in my mind, as moving the $500 trillion securities market on-chain. What I spend most of my time thinking about every single day is how do we move the legacy financial system, the $500 trillion security market that runs on legacy rails right now, onto Solana? And why Solana? Solana is the only blockchain, from my perspective, as the head of DeFi at Galaxy Digital, that can sustain, that can warehouse the global capital markets, that can warehouse billions of transactions a day. And if it does that, there will be two things that will happen. First, we'll have massive efficiency gains. And don't tell me about tick to trade. When transactions land on Solana, talk to me about tick to settlement. We are already beating the legacy financial system. But secondly, we will be moving from a closed system, a closed source system that does not work for most people, into an open source system, an ownership economy, a system in which anyone, young people especially, can have a piece of that system. Young people can actually buy in to that system. And we have to do it now. And so what we focus on at Galaxy is how do we move the legacy financial system on chain? How do we do it? And many people have many thoughts, right? Some people say we need to wait for regulators. Some people say we need to wait for institutions to catch up. I say we don't have time for that. We do not have time to wait. We have to do it now. We have to move the $500 trillion securities market that is waiting for us. We have to move it on chain now. We don't have a choice. When that system moves on chain, when it is opened up, when there are validators that are validating not just meme coins and Pokemon cards, but validating securities transactions and bonds and derivatives, not only will all the young people that understand these markets and that are enfranchised by them, not only will they have a leg up finally, not only will they have ownership finally in a system, but we will finally get to the next stage of what we are all fighting for, which is a system that is open for all. So, what is Galaxy's role here? Galaxy is in the vanguard of moving this forward. Many others are too, but Galaxy uses its position to push and get securities on chain. And the first thing we did was we tokenized Galaxy stock. Galaxy Digital is on the NASDAQ. That is a publicly traded share, but we went to the SEC and we said we are tokenizing these securities. And where did we do it? We did it on Solana, because Solana is the only blockchain that we believe can house, with the speed and the efficiency needed, tokenized securities. And so, Galaxy Digital stock is on chain. We are also working with State Street on a tokenized money market fund. This is, again, taking the legacy financial system, taking the institutions that existed for the last 50 years, 100 years, and moving them on chain. We're doing it now. We are also going to be building a prime brokerage on chain. A prime brokerage on chain, on Solana. This is extremely exciting because everything that you need to run a prime brokerage is already on Solana. The risk engines, everything, right now. For those who don't know, we run two of the largest Solana validators. We're very involved in Solana. And in connection with our validators, we are one of the largest 00 switch operators. So these are the routes that we are currently running for 00. Why is 00 so important? Because if you're going to warehouse the $500 trillion securities market, you can't do it over the public internet. It's not done over the public internet right now on NASDAQ. It can't be done on Solana. In fact, this right here is so important to actually being able to efficiently price securities, bonds, commodities, derivatives, and 00 being able to multicast state updates, being able to reduce massively jitter, and working with Galaxy, we're really excited about it. Forward Industries. We sponsored Forward Industries, the largest Solana DAT. This is important. Forward Industries, from my perspective, is the canary in the coal mine. It is a publicly traded company. It is a Solana company. We are going to push the boundaries with Forward Industries on what is possible for a public company to do on-chain. This is very important. Forward Industries, most DATs, most publicly traded companies, when they want to raise capital, they issue shares on the NASDAQ. But what if you could issue them on-chain directly? DATs issue shares in exchange for cash, and then they buy SOL. What if we could issue shares on chain in exchange for SOL? How much more efficient would that be? And that is just one of many things that we are going to be doing. And then in connection with that, Galaxy and Jump are going to be launching a Prop AMM. Now, this is interesting because Prop AMMs have dominated the news, rightfully so. For the first time in my career in crypto, on-chain prices are better than Binance prices. It's a massive success, and it's held largely because of Prop AMMs. What do you want to do with the Prop AMM more than just trade crypto? Well, what about on-chain token offerings, on-chain market making for equities? There are a million different things that a Prop AMM can do to actually bolster and provide price discovery for traditional financial instruments that will trade on-chain. So these things are very important. We want to provide more liquidity, we want to provide more price discovery, and we want Solana to be so dominant, and we want Solana to have such good prices that when you look at the NASDAQ price for Forward Industries and you look at the Solana price for Forward Industries, you want to buy on Solana. That is the end state. So, listen, young people are struggling. We believe DeFi is the middle ground. We believe DeFi is the way that we can enfranchise Gen Z and millennials who have been crowded out of this system. But it can only work if the actual real economy is on chain. Everyone has a role to play. Galaxy's role is playing is a forcing function to move it on chain. So we are fighting every day. We are building every day. If you're an engineer, if you're a trader, if you're interested in what I've said here today, please reach out to me. We are looking for everyone and anyone who is interested in joining this mission. But also, I want to just say, you guys are so important to this. If we don't succeed at building a better future through decentralized markets, through decentralized finance, if we don't succeed at that, the future for young people is going to be very bleak. It's either going to be the status quo or chaos. We are the rational middle ground. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.